Biselanto, Kambuyele Kaya, Disogwenzanto, Sisogwa Kintonga, Intonga Zanto, Zale Western Cape, Intonigele, Kumsago Wetum, Oli Kaya Letu.
I think South Africa needs to know that violence is intersectional and it's multifaceted. It's not one thing, therefore it doesn't have one solution. It requires people from different sectors of society. It requires different role players and thinkers and communities to come together to better help understand what kind of violence they're going through and why. To paint violence as one thing is to disempower ourselves to solve it.
South Africans need to understand that prevention of violence need not to only happen later at the stage of adulthood, but intervention or prevention of violence can be able to happen at earlier phases of child development.
I think the first thing is we bring people together, women, men, youth, children. We bring people together as families, and in that, when you build that kind of dynamic of strangers coming together, you're building a stronger force against violence.
And what the center represents is an intersectional center. Although we started off on the feminist footprint, and that is very much still us. And secondly, you know, we still struggle with gender equity because early intervention needs to start in the ECD center that I'm busy building. And it's not our responsibility per se for children to write their names A, B, C, D, and F. We live in a situation, colleagues, where we need to deal with trauma. And you can already see that when this child reached grade 5, the Junkie Funkies is going to target that child. And so what I want to bring into the space is your play therapist, your art therapist, your music therapist, and all those elements that will help a child just regulate. We as adults struggle to regulate ourselves. How about a young child? It will give the child a little lavender. You'll see at the back my go towards is bringing lavender back to the heels. I want to give the child the first seed of lavender when that child enters grade 1.
The message of hope that I have for Cape Townians and South Africa in general is essentially that we live in the most magnificent country that you can ever find.
I know it is often difficult to every day learn about the violent incidents happening in our communities. It feels like we're taking 5 steps back, whereas the previous day we were able to see some strides and some gains into our work, although it may not be visible every day. But I think there's a great change that we see coming from our communities.
I think we can look around us and see all the signs and symbols of hope. I mean, people playing soccer, people watching soccer, people living together and sweeping streets. These might be small in people's eyes, but I think it's highly significant that people want to care for their environment and for their families and going to work and providing. The hope is all over us. It's there. We must just stop looking at all the negatives all the time.
I'm very inspired by people who have come together, and that inspires me to do the work. And I think as a message to South Africans is that, again, violence is preventable. We have to imagine that. And through vehicles like VPF, you know, we can move towards that goal. I believe a Western Cape where there is mutual respect,
care, love, dialogue, and collaboration across the divides.
Where everyone has equal access and opportunity to thrive.
A home where all belong.
intonga zanto zale Western Cape intoni ke